house at his Bell Harbor. I bought Lennox Mall for my brothers. Sold yard bag, told the cutter. I got it out the field, fuck Russell. Going ask L'Oreal about the paddock and going ask Jordan, that's dead. For leak water, trying to drown a bitch. It's a habit, tricking on a bitch. Shit, I'm thinking I'm crippin' a pimp. Shit, I'm cooking up dope like a dump. Shit, like her first gon' sit nigga trim. Shit, I'm floating, I'm out in the blimp. Shit, it look like I'm swimming in glass. Shit, I turn on my bitch cause she bad. Shit, I'm making my ex nigga mad. Shit, they go for that temperature man. Real nigga learn up, wearing a bag. Piping a bitch and they nail like I can. Turn up the shooters with switches go bad. They with some scammers but no one's for pain. Slapping no rapping my dog, he fall off. No capping, no bound.
What it do, what it do, what it do, what it do. I go by the name of BRWE, represent this self-made hustle TV where the hustle has to be in you, not on you. Make sure y'all like, share, and subscribe. What it do, what it do, what it do, what it do. I go by the name of BRWE, represent that self-made hustle TV where the hustle has to be in you, not on you. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe, man. Let's get this music flowing through the veins, man.
Mercedes.
I always wanted a Mercedes.
Riding for and fucking with them ladies.
Well,
Been getting so much money, this shit crazy.
Man, gotta get that money, man.
In 9-4, I had that black 500, and when you open that bitch up, it's wood grain on the dough. Then I copped that Maybach, the first one in my city. Is get rich or die trying, man. I'm feeling like 50.
Cop so many Bentleys, on them not no Ridleys. Working with my blessing, I'm just spending what he sent me. I always fill them up, but they be always on empty. Cause I be always on the way to make a bitch miss me.
I break her, then I shake her until she give me paper. I hit her in my Sprinter. Look, we done woke up the neighbor.
Magnum to make it safer. Baby want me to rape her. But never at my house. My other spot is where I take her. Mercedes. Riding for and fucking with them ladies.
Well.
Cause we down South Kings.
Getting so much money, this shit crazy.
You know we killing the scene.
That Chrysler 300 I had, that shit was classic. Alligator all in the back, shit was Jurassic. Me and my nigga Cook Overt was on automatic. Like televisions back in the 60s, niggas was static.
You like the base model, I like AMG. I got screens everywhere, shit look like a AMC. I called him Marco, and then he cut the check. My chick like money too, she say it make her wet.
My chick like money too, but I ain't got a chick. Shit ain't on the wheel and the lack and the flow, it gotta sit.
Hey, when it's paper on the line, F the speed limit. I hit your chick for 3 hours and 33 minutes.
Mercedes, riding for and fucking with them ladies.
Well.
Cause we down South Kings.
Ladies. so much money, this shit crazy.
This shit crazy. You know we killing the scene.
One more, man. Let me get one more in, man. If I can get one more jam, man. If not, man, I understand.
Yeah, XO like a bitch.
Hey, Bo.
XO turn me up, yo.
XO think he
Hey, I came from the bottom, I slept on the mattress. Young nigga get money all over the haters. Boy, you ain't shit, you just like your daddy. That what they tell me right after I smashed. I went to the top like I cropped up my leg. She pretty as hell and that ass got fatter. Hey, you do it good, I'm about her. You ain't even on my level. You do it good, I'm about her. You ain't even on my level. You do it good, I'm about her.
Better.
You ain't even on my level.
Ain't even on my level.
You do it good, I'm about her.
Yeah.
You ain't even on my level. Hey, you do it good, I'm about her.
Yeah.
You ain't even on my level. I got the chopper. I'm with the gang. Nigga don't play in this bitch. I'm with the mob. We got the ties. I'm finna talk my shit. My bitch, she be calling. Sometimes I don't answer. She can't stand that shit. I'm fresh out of Dolce. Mix was offended. Swear I be wearing this shit. I do this shit for my niggas, they did. I do this shit for my niggas that's gone. I never let this shit go to my head. Remember them times they treated me wrong? 247 don't get no shit. I ain't at home, I'm in these streets. Miss my nigga, I ain't seen him in weeks. Free my little nigga right out of the cell. I got my trap degree. I am a masterpiece. Haters been after me, so I keep the strap with me. Oh yeah, yeah. I been teed up. Chopper hit a nigga from my feet up and left. Buy for a drink from Train. I said I came from the bottom, I slept on the mattress. Young nigga get money all over the haters. Boy, you ain't shit, you just like your daddy. That what they tell me right after I smashed. I went to the top like I cropped up my leg. She pretty as hell and that ass got fatter. Hey, you do it good, I'm about her. You ain't even on my level. You do it good, I'm about her. You ain't even on my level. Hey, you do it good, I'm about her. You ain't even on my level. You do it good, I'm about her. You ain't even on my level. Hey, you do it good, I'm about her. You ain't even on my level. You ain't even on my level. We not the same. You ain't even live like this.
Yeah.
My diamond bust, know that they flawless. Tyson the only thing hit like this. Bought a new car and I still ain't drove. You sitting on the dope, you still ain't sold it.
My bad, y'all. I still
ain't vote.
my
Shout
bad,
out to
y'all.
G, you know that my little water.
Back dude.
Yeah, my one so big in my
This
pocket can't fold
thing.
it.
Waco with this bitch, man.
Yeah,
Waco
pull up on
to
gangsta,
all
we
y'all,
hit 'em
man.
on
I
my
see y'all,
fans.
man.
Hey, I'm on that knife, I be bustin' with J-Stan. I know they smell me, I fuck up their nose. Go to the west to go get me a load. Gang, yeah. Slip by the loud on the thing, yeah. I'm dumb on that bus, I'm the same, yeah. Be quiet, nigga, don't say my name in here. Shut be quiet. I'm on the fly too high.
Hey,
I go get hit in
just
Dubai.
enjoy the show.
Say it ain't real, you lie. We don't even know them guys. I came from the bottom, I slept on the mat. Young nigga get money all over the haters. Boy, you ain't shit, you just like your daddy. That what they tell me right after I smashed. I went to the top like I cropped up my leg. She pretty as hell and that ass got fatter. Hey, you do it good, I'm about her. You ain't even on my level. You do it good, I'm about her. You ain't even on my level. Hey, you do it good, I'm about her. You ain't even on my level. You do it good, I'm about her. You ain't even on my level. Hey, you do it good, I'm about her. You ain't even on my level.
Yeah, salute. Man, let me get on this. Whoever the fuck this is, man. This always some bitch ass niggas. Remy, Lil Money. Man, it's always a bitch ass nigga. Always in my chat, man. Get up off my dick, fool. Like, god damn, my nigga, it's a billion motherfuckers on YouTube, and you motherfuckers come over here to dick suck, to ride dick. Man, nigga, like, don't worry about how many people in here. Worry about how many people ain't gonna be in here. We finna make you exit as soon as I get to this other screen, sir. You're gonna have to go somewhere else, bro. Troll these nuts, fool. It's always a bitch ass, yagged ass nigga. Always in my chat on my dick every day, talking about some money or something, some bullshit, fool. Like every motherfucking day, you niggas is dog, especially on the weekend. That's why I don't even like running lives on weekends, man. Cause these niggas, boy, they can't wait to troll, fool. These bitch ass niggas cannot wait to troll, fool. Oh, it's a weekend. Oh, let me make my troll account. Man, you niggas is some bitches, nigga. Like straight up bitches. A troll is a bitch. Like a person that be somebody different every day is a bitch. Like, yeah. I don't care who it come from, a woman, man, whoever. Be yourself and say what you want to say, bitch ass nigga. Should never have to motherfucking go into a troll account just because you want to see what somebody say or somebody got you blocked over here where you can't talk, fool. You can't talk over here for a reason, nigga. It's a reason why your little dumb ass can't talk over here, fool. A reason, fool. You know? Goofy ass niggas. Swear, bro. We're gonna get to the Diddy content, a little catch up because I've been behind. You know, I take a week out from this shit and then gather up all the intel on motherfucking first. Oh, hold on. Before we get into this, I want to show y'all something real fast. Hold on. This shit will never load. Oh, I'm not putting it on that. I don't think computer about a cookie. Well, this shit taking a
kidnapped her in 2011. All of this matters as we build up.
Hold on. Now, I'm going to show y'all something real fast. Almost forgot. We got this right here. So what y'all said is this is Larry Hoover's paperwork, y'all. Let me get this bullshit ass name off the screen. Lil Money. What kind of name is Lil Money, man? Y'all gotta practice on y'all trolling, fool. Practice on your trolling, man. Practice on your trolling. All right. We got the Larry Hoover. This is not the federal paperwork. This is the motherfucking paperwork for the state time or whatever. You see the shit that's highlighted. It said the 25th. It said, I think it's, let me look at my phone to see exactly what it said. I can't see it on this screen. It said like his sentence was 200 years. He said projected discharge 10/25/2066. Projected parole date 10/25/62. Admission date 1974. That nigga been in there for a long ass time, bro. Long ass time, bro. We don't know if they gonna let him out or not. We might can get into some of that shit, you know, like a little bit later if I'm still in here. You know, the link pinned on the wall if anybody want to come in and give up, you know, a little insight on the case or whatever it may be, man. You thought 50 Cent name wasn't gonna come up in it? Please. Know what he thinking. That's crazy.
To how 50 Cent kind of factors into what he said on the stand. Now, Capricorn Clark started working for Bad Boy after she worked for Death Row Records. Now, that's surprising, since Death Row was ran by perhaps Diddy's most hated enemy, Suge Knight. Clark said one of her good friends had a baby with Suge Knight, and that's how she knew him. And in perhaps the most shocking story testimony, Clark claimed that shortly after she started working for Diddy, Diddy and his security guards took her to Central Park after dark, and Diddy said, quote, he told me he didn't know that I had anything to do with Suge Knight, and if anything happened, he would have to kill me. It is an allegation that paints Combs as someone who is ready to take a life. But as Capricorn Clark's testimony continued, she brought up another rival of Sean Diddy Combs and another allegation that he made an ominous threat of violence. Clark testified
that lady looked
when
old
working
as
for
shit.
Diddy, they went to a press event at MTV and 50 Cent was there. And just wait until you hear what she says Diddy told 50's manager. 50 Cent's real name is Curtis Jackson. He rose to fame in the early 2000s. You might remember songs like In the Club. You might remember that he was the leader of the rap group G-Unit. Now, 50 grew up in Jamaica, Queens, New York. Diddy, also a New York native. He was born in Harlem, grew up in Mount Vernon, New York, just about 20 miles away. And even though they both had success in music, they both rose to fame representing the city of New York and the rap scene there. They have been longtime rivals. In 2006, 50 Cent released a diss track about Diddy. So almost 20 years ago, this goes back a long way. And in that diss track, he says, quote, "Who shot Biggie Smalls? We don't get them. They gon' kill us all. Man, Puffy know who hit that expletive. Man, that expletive soft." Now, 50 is accusing Combs there of knowing who killed his friend, the notorious B.I.G. Christopher Wallace. Wallace and Puffy were incredibly close, but Wallace was shot and killed in a drive-by shooting in Los Angeles in 1997, and no one has ever been charged for pulling the trigger. This all happened during really the height of the East Coast, West Coast rap rivalry of the 90s, which involved Suge Knight, who we mentioned earlier. 50 Cent has also accused Diddy of orchestrating the murder of death row rapper Tupac Shakur, who died in 1996 in a Las Vegas drive-by shooting. This is Dwayne Keith D. Davis. He was arrested in September 2023, and he is the only person facing charges related to Tupac's murder. But 50 Cent has continued to push the allegation that Sean Combs either knows something or did something for Tupac to end up dead, though Diddy has denied that. But in a 2023 Instagram post, 50 wrote, "Damn, so Pac got lined by brother love, LOL, time to lawyer up, expletive, might get sticky," with a pic of Suge Knight in a car with Tupac.
That's cold.
Diddy, who has a lot of names,
That's crazy.
Puff Daddy, Puffy, Puff, and Brother Love is one of those other names. Now, from Diddy's side of things, again, he's denied having anything to do with Tupac's murder, and he's also denied having anything to do with Christopher Wallace's death, and he's denied publicly having issues with 50 Cent. Here's what Combs said when he was asked about a beef with 50 in a 2018 interview with the radio show The Breakfast Club, Power 105.1 FM.
Hey, yo, I don't have no beef with
I don't know why.
With Fifth. He loves me. He loves me.
Do y'all really
can't
have
see
a
it?
beef?
I mean, y'all can't see it.
No, we can't see
Y'all
it,
can't
man.
see that he loves me.
But see,
You really, hold on, you really think that's hate?
If you look at 50's social media, you can see he has a lot of posts about Diddy. And this is what he posted the day that federal agents in Miami raided Combs' mansion ahead of his arrest on the charges that he's now on trial for. 50 Cent posted on X, "Now it's not Diddy do it, it's Diddy done. They don't come like that unless they got a case." 50 Cent also included a link to his G-Unit clothing brand in that post. While Diddy in the Breakfast Club clip said that 50 Cent actually loves him and there was never a beef, on the stand this week, Capricorn Clark said otherwise. Clark said that she was at this press event at MTV with Diddy, and 50 Cent was also there, all of this happening in New York. Clark said, quote, "After the interview wrapped up, myself, Puff, and Chris Lighty got in the elevator." Clark said that Lighty was an entertainment manager who, on paper, was managing Diddy at the time, but was also 50 Cent's manager at the time. Prosecutors asked Clark what happened in the elevator, and she said, quote, "Puff told Chris, because they were having some sort of issue, like, I really don't like all the back and forth. I don't do that. I like guns." The prosecutor then asked, "What's the issue with an individual?" And Clark responded, he had an issue with 50 Cent. She said Combs was very serious when he said that. In this case, it has become common to hear testimony from witnesses about alleged threats by Diddy. In fact, several witnesses have said that Diddy regularly threatened to fire people, to beat people, like his former girlfriend Cassie Ventura, and in this case, making a threat involving firearms to settle a dispute, per the testimony of someone who was one of his closest associates for more than a decade. Invoking gun violence and some sort of veiled threat, that could be scary for some, but apparently not 50 Cent. On Instagram, 50 posted right after his name came up in the courtroom, quote, cut, wait a minute. Puffy's got a gun. I can't believe this. I don't feel safe, with a picture that looked like an AI image of 50 Cent on a movie set looking serious. And he wasn't done. Shortly after that, he posted another AI image on Instagram of him in a Yankees hat with a very scared look on his face with the caption, "Oh my goodness, itty bitty Diddy wants me dead. I have to lay low. Sad face emoji. I think I'm going to hide out at the playoff game tonight. LOL.
That nigga say
Then
at the
the next day
playoff
he
game. How
posted
you gonna
what he
hide out of
did
a playoff game?
that night. He went to the NBA playoff game between the New York Knicks and the Indiana Pacers in Indiana. And you can see him here in a picture on the floor in a shirt that reads, quote, Free Diddy, playing into the trolling that 50 Cent has done to Sean Combs over the years, even before Combs was ever accused of what he is on trial for. Now, Combs' trial is expected to last another month at least. He's charged with racketeering, sex trafficking by force, and transportation to engage in prostitution. He is pleading not guilty. Join us now to talk more about the trial of Sean Diddy Combs and everything that's going on inside the courtroom is Afi Patterson, civil and criminal defense attorney. Thanks for taking the time to be with us.
10K,
we're focusing on
nigga, my brother.
A minor moment in the grand scheme of everything we heard in the trial this week, but there's this anecdote that Capricorn Clark told about what related to 50 Cent, but what Diddy allegedly told 50 Cent's manager at MTV during her time of working for Diddy. What did you make of that? Sean Combs saying, I don't like the back and forth, but I like guns.
You know, I think it goes to the overall case. They've been saying that Diddy was a dangerous guy. If he made a threat, he could back it up. And I do recall reading that she said that his demeanor was very, very serious. And knowing his history, his violent history, knowing about the beef between Biggie and Tupac, I think that it probably frightened her. And I think that just again, her knowing about his violence, his propensity for violence, his behavior with her, his behavior with Cassie, his behavior with other employees, he's just continually reinforcing that violence. So I think it was a really good moment for the government.
Yeah, it's just, and it seems like there are these little moments along the way where there are some celebrity names that pop up. This case, it was 50 Cent. We heard earlier in the trial, Usher and Neo were at a dinner where Cassie was allegedly assaulted. It was unclear whether they saw that, but it was said that they were there. As far as the history of 50 Cent and Diddy, do we know how it started? I know that 50 Cent had a diss track, I think around 2006, claiming that Sean Combs knew who killed Biggie Smalls. But is there a particular incident that happened that made 50 Cent just seem to really start to come
What makes 50 Cent say that, dog?
You know, I don't know what's ground zero for them. I've seen, interviews that 50 has given saying that it's all business with them. I know they both have alcohol lines, and I know, they're both from New York, I think.
We talking about way back then. What makes 50 Cent say that shit? Why does people keep saying that P. Diddy is connected to Keith D? Why all of a sudden is Keith D locked up and Diddy locked up? Like, what's going on with this situation, man? Is this true? Is Diddy that sinister? Like, is the nigga really, really like that? Diddy really, really, really get busy like that? In a sick way, too. Also get busy in a sick ass way, too, though.
50 is maybe from Queens and Diddy is from Harlem. I don't know what their ground zero is, but I know that since this all came out, 50 has not stopped. He's been taunting Diddy online. You, of course, know about the documentary. I believe it got picked up by Netflix, and he is supposedly donating the proceeds to victims of domestic violence. Diddy has had his knee on his neck and his foot to the gas on Diddy for a while. But again, I don't know where it started.
Yeah, I mean, 50 Cent.
The link is on the community wall.
There was an anecdote that came out that someone had said,
link is on the community
talking
wall.
about a back and forth that might scare you. 50 Cent was at the Knicks Pacers game in Indiana with a Free Diddy t-shirt on, sitting courtside the next day. It's different. It was different. I look back and we aired a bit kind of leading into this interview, a clip from the Breakfast Club. It was 2018 and Diddy was on the show and they asked about the issues that he had with 50 Cent. And he said, there's no issues. I love him. He loves me. He was kind of joking about it. And then you hear these stories that come out, whether it's this one specifically about 50 Cent or just in general, the picture that's being painted by the government in this trial. For you, has kind of the image of Sean Combs and who you thought he was, has it changed during the course of what we've seen over the last couple of weeks?
Certainly over the course of what we've seen, but I think I've seen an interview where 50 said, if you want to go nowhere, go to Diddy. If you're ready for your career to die, go to Diddy. It's long been rumored that Diddy didn't necessarily treat his artists properly, and if you look through his roster of artists, you'll see a lot of individuals whose careers probably started off really, really well, but they ended up with no money. That's long been the rumor. There've been rumors of abuse by Diddy toward Cassie and toward Kim and some other women as well. Even when he was at, I think Uptown is where he originally started. So there've always been rumors, but nothing really solidified and verified like we've had in this trial. It's been awful. I think it would be awful for anyone. I don't think his reputation is in the business world certainly will never recover. And even if he's found not guilty, his name is mud. I don't think that it's recoverable. I think everybody is extremely shocked, especially just some of the sexually explicit things. We have a huge morality issue in America. So anything that's like a little deviant is just not going to be really good for you. So I think everybody's a little shocked. I'm a little shocked and appalled and horrified, and I think a lot of people are. But this is not what we knew. We knew some things weren't right, but we didn't know just how wrong they were.
And I feel like we just knew because, I mean, we all grew up, whether it was, some of the roles he had in movies, and I mean, he was everywhere, and then his brands were everywhere. And it's like Making the Band was such like a hit show on MTV back in the day. And there's that famous scene where he has all the contestants walk to Brooklyn to go get, I think it was Junior's cheesecake. And he's yelling at people. And then it seemed like everyone around him in any documentary that he did, it was like, oh, that's just Puff because he's always just so angry. And then it's just this whole other level in the trial where it just, as an attorney, I mean, how effective has the government been, as you just read, and we can only read transcripts really and kind of hear from the people we have in the courtroom, but just at this point, how effective has the government been in painting a picture? This isn't just someone who was a domestic abuser. This isn't someone who's just a mean boss, but this was a racketeer who's running a criminal enterprise.
Yeah, and I think the forced labor issue. I think they've done an excellent job with that. With the transcripts I've been reading, a lot of the people are saying that they worked for 20 hours. Like that's the magic number, 20 hours straight. They, on a good day, we heard you'll get 4 hours of sleep. On a bad day, you'll get 4 hours of sleep. I think one of the what is it? A bodyguard said, if
I want to show y'all something else first, and we're going to come right back to this. Watch this. Look at this, y'all.
If you sleep, you're getting fired. Like it was more rhythmic than that. I don't know, but you couldn't sleep around him. And I think that's what we saw with Making the Band. But again, if you sleep, you're getting fired. Like it was more rhythmic than that. I don't know, but
watch this. Watch this, y'all. My computer wasn't fucked up, man. I should have already had this shit ready for y'all, bro. But we gonna get there though. Hold on. I'll show y'all this and we gonna go back. I ain't touch this goddamn computer so motherfucking low. Hold on. I'm sorry. I apologize, y'all. Oh, man, I didn't even like it. My bad, y'all. Watch this.
They're wasting a lot of money if they're going to continue with that nonsense.
And this one's a little bit more of a page 6 question, but back when you hosted The Apprentice, you mentioned once in 2012 that Diddy was a good friend of yours back then.
Continue with that nonsense.
And this one's a little bit more of a page 6 question, but back when you hosted The Apprentice, you mentioned once in 2012 that Diddy was a good friend of yours back then. He has since found himself in some very serious legal trouble.
Yeah, that's true.
Would you ever consider pardoning him?
Well, nobody's asked. You had to be the one to ask, Peter, but nobody's asked. But I know people are thinking about it. I know they're thinking about it. I think some people have been very close to asking. First of all, I'd look at what's happening, and I haven't been watching it too closely, although it's certainly getting a lot of coverage. I haven't seen him. I haven't spoken to him in years. He used to really like me a lot, but I think when I ran for politics, he sort of that relationship busted up. From what I read, I don't know. He didn't tell me that, but I'd read some little bit nasty statements in the paper all of a sudden. You know, it's different. You become a much different person when you run for politics and you do what's right. I could do other things, and I'm sure he'd like me, and I'm sure other people would like me, but it wouldn't be as good for our country. As we said, our country's doing really well because of what we're doing. So I can't. It's not a popularity contest. So I don't know. I would certainly look at the facts. If I think somebody was mistreated, whether they like me or don't like me, it wouldn't have any impact on me.
They went crazy. Hey, they went crazy, but they went crazy for that nigga Trump.
Mr. President, on Russia,
Hey,
Mr.
so,
President,
hey, hold on. Let
do
me
you
stop
believe
this.
the Russians are being disrespectful
Let me stop this.
when they say
Let me-
that your criticisms of Putin
Stop this. Hit this shit. Stop. Yeah. So Trump they like shit. He say nobody ain't spoke to him about it yet. You know what I'm saying? The nigga say if they come speak to me, shit, yeah, if somebody was wrongfully treated, even if I don't like him. Man, that's crazy, man. Yeah, you owe me a favor, Diddy. That was gonna happen. You owe, nigga. You owe. Hold on, I hear y'all backstage. Hold on, let me get this shit situated, baby.
If convicted, Combs faces the possibility of life in prison. Coming up, our team will break down the legal analysis, but first, the play-by-play details from inside the courtroom. Let's start in Lower Manhattan, outside the federal courthouse. That's where we find Aaron Katursky, our chief investigative correspondent. And Aaron, you've been in court there every day of this trial. The witness using the pseudonym Mia was back on the stand today for the second day in a row. Today, she faced cross-examination. What happened?
My shit crazy.
She faced a tough cross-examination when she was confronted, Eva, with her own social media posts, and they were flattering about Sean Combs. They called him everything from legend to her mentor, her inspiration, her rock star, unicorn, whatever that is.
Trump say he gonna free that boy.
And the defense showed these and then asked, that's the guy that traumatized you? That's the guy you said repeatedly sexually assaulted you? And facing those incredulous questions from defense attorney Brian Steele, Eva, Mia simply said, yes, I was in an abusive relationship. She explained that she was traumatized and almost sounded like she was leading this double life, concealing what she testified happened to her in this toxic and traumatizing work experience, but also being a good corporate soldier and promoting Combs when required on social media.
Brian Steele, one of Sean Combs' attorneys, asked her a lot of questions about November 4th. What's the significance of that date?
That's Sean Combs' birthday. It's also the day that Mia testified she was first sexually assaulted by Sean Combs. She said it happened at the Plaza Hotel here in New York City when they were in the penthouse. She said Combs pulled her alone into the kitchen, put his hand up her dress and forcibly kissed her when she did not want him to. And so defense attorney Brian Steele then questioned why she would send Combs all of these birthday wishes. There would be these photo collages. There was even one handwritten happy 45th birthday, Puff Daddy, and a long handwritten note flattering Sean Combs for all that he had accomplished. And Steele kept coming back to, this was a date that stuck in your mind. And Mia resisted a bit. She said, I knew the date to be Sean Combs' birthday, but she didn't think about it as the date of her first sexual assault.
Prosecutors asked Mia today about the time she was suspended from her job for Sean Combs. Tell us about that.
Sean Combs suspended her on several occasions.
Salute everybody.
She said, and often it occurred without explanation. And the only thing that she could think was that it happened after
98 people
Combs was violent with her, or she witnessed violence and somehow reacted to it, either ran away or tried to hide. And she told the jury about some of these, what she considered to be specious reasons for being suspended. And when she would try to reach out, it was almost as if she was getting
no birthday
an eye
wishes,
roll.
no means.
Showed the jury
Definitely,
some messages
Gina.
with D-Rock, one of
Definitely.
Combs' bodyguards, after he said, what happened? And she said, Sean Combs just got mad about her not laying out the right workout clothes.
Keep that nigga.
Aaron, this is a federal case, and the president is able to issue pardons in
I'm saying,
federal
though, what if
cases.
that nigga really did
Could
this
he
shit
issue
and they
one
let
for
him
Sean
out?
Combs if he's
He
convicted?
do it again.
Sure, he could. And in fact, he was asked about that today at the White House. And when he was pressed about it, he did not rule out.
Hey, y'all don't remember the rapper Mystical? I know y'all remember a long time ago the rapper Mystical. It used to be signed to Master P and shit. Nigga, he came down to where I'm at, my city, did a concert, did something with a girl, allegedly caught one of them R cases, and I don't know, did he do some time or something for it or something? I don't know, but they let him out and he did it again. He back in prison right now as we speak, nigga, for the same shit. That shit definitely hit different.
Pardon for Sean Combs. Take a listen.
I would certainly look at the facts. I know people are thinking about it. I know they're thinking about it. I think some people have been very close to asking.
So
he
if
did
Sean
it
Combs
more
is
times.
convicted here in federal court, it's possible he could seek a pardon. It's possible that Trump would grant it, but we're only 3 weeks of testimony in, even.
Aaron Katersky at the courthouse for us there. Thank you so much, Aaron. And here to break this down for us is ABC News legal analyst Brian Buckmeyer. You have also been in court all week. It's been a busy week.
I can use
What
your
stood out
money.
to
You owe me.
Well, we've had a number
You owe
of
me,
kind of
nigga.
star witnesses in their own right. Starting first with the Capricorn Clark, closest to you. She brought in some of those kidnapping allegations, the underlying charges, some of the RICO, both of herself, where she said for 5 days she was subjected to a lie detector test. One of which, another kidnapping incident, she alleged that Sean Combs had showed up to her home and woke her up at gunpoint and went to Kid Cudi's house. And that's where we got LAPD officer Ignacio, as well as LA Fire arson investigator Jimenez, talking about that investigation into the incident that involved Kid Cudi as both the alleged burglary and the arson. And then Dante Nash, the stylist for Sean Combs and Cassie. Some very explosive and interesting testimony there. And of course, as you said, with Mia testifying about the allegations that not only applied to her, but also corroborating some of what Cassie alleged as well.
The defense showed photos from Mia's social media today. What was the point of showing those photos?
So the idea is to show that that Mia, in the same time as these allegations of sexual assault, as well as forced labor, and this very contentious and difficult working relationship, to say the least, that she had these very positive messages from social media, from a scrapbook, from what she described as Sean Combs, as Aaron pointed out, the kind of unicorn, all those other words. But she also explained why she did it. She said she didn't want her family and friends to know the misery that she was in, that her social media were just the highlights of the very highs that she talked about, but the alleged abuse was a part of those very lows that she also talked about as well.
This
The
your other
cross
one,
of Mia
Kobe?
got pretty tense. How do you think the defense handled that?
Yeah, so Brian Steele is the defense attorney who was cross-examining Mia. As we saw prior to Mia, where Cassie, the other female alleged victim, she was cross-examined by a female attorney instead. It's a little bit more contentious. Brian Steele is a former public defender like myself, turned into a now private defense attorney. He's pushing really hard of saying, okay, you were allegedly assaulted and abused here, and then you send out this message. How could you have this type of message and feeling to a person that did this? I think it's a very dangerous way to cross-examine someone because you don't know what response you're going to get. Don't forget about Dante Nash, who asked a very dangerous question as well, and he admitted on the stand that he did participate in crimes under the employment of Sean Combs. But so far, not a dangerous response from Mia, but definitely getting there. You can see some of the questions and responses here.
During the lunch break, this was an interesting moment. The defense team tried to bring in a new piece of evidence. The judge denied that. What happened?
So this is very interesting. They tried at the last minute to get in this social media video from 2013, where it appears that Mia was celebrating a party or a birthday of some sorts, and they're trying to show that her demeanor on the stand is very different from this video. But because of the last minute application to bring it in, as well as the nature of the video, they denied it. But a very interesting point that came up is they said they found out this video last night. They stumbled upon it, but also people on the internet emailed it to the defense team to try to show this juxtaposition of how Mia is presenting in the court as opposed to in some of this video.
Brian Buckmeyer, we'll have more with you in just a little bit. Thanks for being with us. Every person taking the stand in this case walks up and takes their seat in front of a packed courtroom. The jury, the gallery, the teams of lawyers, and of course, Sean Diddy Combs. Our next guest, someone who has spent decades working with witnesses. Judy Saunders is a former prosecutor. She's not involved in this case, but she now leads the sexual abuse and human trafficking team at a law firm here in New York City. Judy, thank you so much for being here with us. Let's get right into it. There's 4 alleged victims that are a part of this case. We've already seen some of them take the stand. How do you prepare someone to take the stand?
It takes a lot of preparation. Some of the key things that you're going to want to do is pull together, gather, and review any prior statements that that witness may have made. You're also going to want to look very much into an individual's background, because what the defense has to do is they have to attack that individual's credibility. So you're going to want to look into their background. You're going to want to think about, were there prior social media posts? Today's age, we can expect that one witness that we all carry around in our pockets are our cell phones, our social media, and our digital footprint. Every witness that I'm preparing to testify, we know everything that we can about what they've placed out there on the internet and online. So those are just some of the things. And you're also, especially in these cases that involve sexual violence, sexual abuse, or alleged sexual violence, you're going to want to prepare that witness for cross-examination, what it will feel like. They will feel attacked. You have to let them know that it's their time to answer directly. If they don't understand a question, you go over all of those things like that, what to say, and you want them just to convey their account of what happened in a way that the jury can understand. So those are just some of the ways that you prepare a witness.
We should note here that Sean Combs has pleaded not guilty to all charges. But when someone makes an allegation like the ones that we have heard in this case, as a lawyer, how do you typically vet those claims?
It takes a lot of time. And we vet those, we analyze those cases. When someone comes in and they're making these allegations, as a lawyer, you are bound, you're ethically bound, morally bound to do your due diligence. So not only are you listening to the accounts, the allegations that a potential client is telling you about, you're also looking for whether there's corroborating evidence out there. You're looking for, depending on what they're saying, you're trying to think, is this individual, what they're materially telling you, is it staying consistent? And it may take more than one interview. Sometimes when you have clients and they're alleging, different types of abuse, you may have to talk to them more than once. And when you're thinking about that, you're listening for consistencies and inconsistencies. But if you find that what they're saying is materially consistent, they may forget when it happened or dates or what have you. Those are the things that you're going to want to hear and listen to, and you know that there's some consistency and that there may be a ring of truth to that.
This trial is in federal court, so there are no cameras. Do you think cameras make a big difference when it comes to witnesses taking the stand?
I know that it may not make that much of a difference. I know that as far as transparency, we're always wanting our court systems to be transparent to the public, to know what's going on in these proceedings. As far as a witness, just being in a courtroom itself can have a very intimidating factor. The addition of cameras, it could have an impact on how that individual is thinking and processing and listening, but it can be very intimidating to be there in front of a jury, in front of individuals in the gallery, in the audience, the judge is sitting next to you. That alone in and of itself is impactful. And so it's very likely that adding a camera could add another layer of stress to a witness.
Judy Saunders, thank you so much for joining us today. And given the sensitive nature of this week's testimony, we want to make sure you know what domestic resources are available. If you or someone you know needs to speak with someone, you can call the National Domestic Violence Hotline 24/7. That number is right there on your screen. Still ahead, our legal team digs deeper into the prosecution and defense's strategy behind Mia's testimony. And we take a look at the top 5 searches today related to the trial against Sean Combs.
Yeah, man, y'all hit that like button on the way in.
Welcome back to ABC News Live. Burden of proof, the case against Diddy. Only one witness took the stand today, testifying under the pseudonym Mia. She was a former assistant to Sean Diddy Combs and one of the 4 alleged victims in this case. Let's break down the key legal strategies we saw playing out in court. We have Brian Buckmeyer playing the defense and Bernarda Villalona playing prosecutor. Bernarda, we're going to start with you. Mia said that she is unable to hold a job since leaving her employment with Combs. Does that matter or factor in here?
So it depends if the jury believes her that the reason that she can't hold a job is because of the traumatic stress that she was put through while she was working for Combs. So in terms of when she was testifying during direct examination, and I think the prosecution did an excellent job in the sense of presenting her as someone that is not a strong person, someone that is sensitive, someone that is emotional, to the point, Eva, when she testified, she never made eye contact with the prosecutor. She was constantly just looking down. And you could clearly tell from her testimony during direct examination.
They ain't gonna allow no cameras, man. They don't want us to have no content. They like the big cases, they don't. Like, but I'm gonna tell you something. When you go out there and shoot somebody up or something, they let you see that shit. Young Dolph, they let you see that shit. Young Thug, they let you see that shit. You get what I'm saying? But shit like this, they want to hide it. Like, they gonna let us get the content. You know? Like, let us get the content. They be hating, bro. It's that's what lets you know it be deeper than what you think when they don't want you to see something.
Right. That she is a woman that is hurt, that has undergone some trauma, and she exhibited that to the extent that even during cross-examination, she even blurted out, like, "Look, I suffer from complex PTSD," even though it was objective.
They want to be the only ones to make the money.
But also, she brought out that she's still seeing a therapist and trying to work through what she went through. Was working under Combs.
Okay, Brian, I have to ask, because they brought all those social media posts in. Do you think that was a good idea for the defense to show those social media posts?
Absolutely. And I think the idea here is to contextualize this relationship. And they've done that with every witness, where they're showing that at the same time she's alleging these allegations of forced labor, sexual assault, rape, everything. Days later, she's on social media
like you see how like on this case, the only places we can go is the news for intel or reading some shit. You know what I'm saying? That's the only place we can go for intel on this case is the news outlets. That's perfect. They want to be the only ones to make the money off this. Y'all gotta pay attention, man. Pay attention. Pay attention.
Talking very fondly of Sean Combs. That at one point in time, his birthday had come up, and she said, "What do you get the man who has everything?" And there's a scrapbook where she's cataloging his life, I think from 1991 to 1999. Now, do I think we understand that someone could allegedly or actually go through these traumatic experiences, but then still go on social media and show a very pleasant and positive light? Absolutely. But I'm also conscious of the fact that half of this jury is 51 to 74. 5 of them are 67 to 74. And at least I know my 65-year-old father has a difficult time of understanding, what do you mean? What's depression? What do you mean therapy?
Yeah. But I think Mia was excellent in the sense of that she said, look, when the highs were high, when the highs, what is it? The highs were high, when the lows were low. So social media was used to express the good times, not the bad times, at least back then, because social media has changed throughout the years. But also, I think she was excellent in the sense of that she was bringing up.
Oh,
that,
Jay Solid,
look, I didn't know what I was going through back then. But I will say in terms of the defense is banking on that this jury forgot the testimony of the expert, of Dr. Hughes, who testified why people will still engage with their abuser and will act the way that doesn't seem normal to the regular eye.
But 2 things about that. One, the social media, again, go back to the age of the jurors. I don't think people who are, and maybe I'm wrong, but I'm just looking at my father and my mother. People in their 60s, they don't know or conceive that social media is just a glamorous highlight of yourself. They could potentially say, no, this is her life. This is real. And then also in terms of what was the second part that you said?
The Dr. Hughes, who testified explaining behavior.
She talked about domestic violence and domestic abuse. I'm not sure if the jury's going to make the connection between Mia and Sean Combs because they weren't in a domestic relationship. Could they separate that out and say, well, Dr. Hughes was talking about Cassie, not about Mia? And there might be wiggle room between that.
The defense really questioned too, like, was she traumatized?
Yes.
Are you worried as a defense attorney that could not actually play that well with the jury?
I think they put all their eggs in one basket when they went down this line of questioning, because their line of questioning is strictly social media posts. They're not really, they didn't attack head on anything that she said in terms of what happened the night that she was raped, or her working 22 hours,
Definitely,
or any other of the violence that she witnessed that was
they got the
Cassie.
black people talking.
They just went with social media posts that this is not the way you act if you were really assaulted.
Yeah, and I think they did that to the point that I think begs the question, did it really happen? And that's what they're trying to beg the question of. If it was so good, did it really happen? And so they're trying to deny actual sexual assault without saying it.
All right, both of you. Always so good to have you here with us. Thank you. Coming up, who is D-Rock and how many years could Diddy face in prison if he's found guilty? We answer these questions and more after the break.
This shit heating up, man. Make sure y'all double tap the
Welcome back to Burden of Proof, the case against Diddy. Jurors in the Sean Combs trial are heading home for the weekend. Week 3 of testimony now done. While the courthouse is empty, online, the search engines are full of questions. That's where our segment Searched comes in. We're taking a closer look at the parts of the trial that you want to know more about. Let's bring in Kelly Carter, who covers entertainment for us. She's joining us this afternoon from Los Angeles. Kelly, so good to have you. First up, everyone wants to know about Mia's testimony.
Yeah, I think people are looking for, once again, like where the stories align with what Cassie has previously testified to. And also if there's any new information. I think that people just want to know also who Mia is. She is testifying under a pseudonym, and I think people are trying to put the pieces together to see if she's someone that perhaps we've seen on a previous reality TV series with Sean Combs, or maybe we've seen her out and about somewhere, but people are certainly curious about her testimony.
Another question that we're seeing, who is D-Rock? Who is
Yeah,
he?
yeah, D-Rock. So he goes way back. He actually is a childhood best friend of Notorious B.I.G. And once he got out of serving a prison sentence himself, he became Notorious B.I.G.'s security guard, head of security. And after Big passed away, he started working for Sean Combs in a similar capacity and continued to do so clearly up until his arrest for these recent charges.
Suge Knight, that's a name that just doesn't seem to be going away. A lot of people want to know about Suge Knight and Sean Combs.
It is never going away, right? I think people are just looking to see, is there any new information? Or I think probably more specifically, is Suge Knight saying something from behind the prison walls about this case and what he might say? Is it giving any insight about who Sean Combs was as a businessman, or what might he say that would be of interest for this particular trial?
The trial is still ongoing. Sean Combs has pleaded not guilty. But if he's convicted, people want to know, how many years in prison could he get?
If he is convicted of all of these charges, he would serve a life sentence in prison. And I think people just want to know why the long sentencing, you know, they're
Life
trying to
sentence in
investigate
the
and figure out
feds.
a little bit
What
more
you
about
mean?
what
Life
these charges
sentence in the
actually
feds.
are and why the severity of the sentencing could be just that, you know, a life in prison.
The other thing we've heard people talking a lot about today is this idea of a potential pardon for Sean Combs.
Yeah, absolutely. Because everyone is aware that at one point, President Trump and Sean Combs were friends. You know, we've seen them publicly. We've seen images of them publicly. So is this something that he would step in and deliver a presidential pardon should he be found guilty on these charges? Obviously, all of that remains to be seen.
Are you seeing any responses to the idea of a pardon possibly happening?
Absolutely. I'm seeing a lot of people weigh in on social media about what that might mean and how they might feel about it.
That's
And I
fucked
think
up
mostly
if he
people
do
just
that
want
shit.
the rest of this court case to play out. And then if it gets there, they're definitely curious to see what might happen
Salute,
from Washington.
salute,
Like,
Blue
would
Eagle
President
brief.
Trump
Salute,
actually
welcome
have
to the
something to
station.
say about this trial? And would he actually free Sean Combs if he were to be found guilty on these charges?
Brian Buckmeyer was explaining to us just a short time ago that you can actually issue a pardon at any point after a crime is committed.
Yes.
So we'll have to wait and see what happens. Kelly
Absolutely.
Carter, thank you so much for joining us this week. Have a great weekend.
Thank you. You too.
And thank you for joining us. We'll be back with new episodes every day of The Trial. The show streams right here on ABC News Live, Disney Plus, and Hulu, weekdays at 5:30 p.m. Eastern and Pacific. For even more on the Diddy trial, make sure to follow our podcast, Bad Rap, the case against Diddy, hosted by our very own Brian Buckmeyer on Apple Podcasts, Spotify.
What you think about all that shit?
Important to this sex trafficking and racketeering case. We are going to go through what they had to say and how it fits into the overall charges. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Jesse Weber. Okay, we're back. Another day in Sean Combs' criminal sex trafficking, racketeering, prostitution trial. We have another recap of today's testimony. This is the continued testimony of alleged victim Mia, testifying under a pseudonym. There is a lot to break down with respect to her direct testimony, her cross-examination by the defense. Remember yesterday, she testified that she was verbally, physically, sexually assaulted by Sean Combs, goes to potentially forced labor as the underlying crime of racketeering. Remember, prosecutors have to prove at least 2 underlying crimes of racketeering. Forced labor is one of them. I also think her testimony goes to this pattern of criminal activity for racketeering. And her testimony, of course, helps corroborate
It's wicked, Cole. My bad. My bad, Cole. I was talking, I was on mute. Yeah, I just think that my nigga, I think that fool, this bad for him, fool. But they saying he can win. But I'm like, dog, it's just I be having big signals about the shit because the nigga, like the recordings and shit, like you know how they say was recording shit. He didn't even have the shit in his possession. She did.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? So I'm like,
Cassie Ventura's claims of physical abuse by Sean Combs, Cassie being victim number 1 in this case. So what?
yeah, she, like it's just like man, listen, man, like dog, I don't, man. The reason why I say he going to jail because she guilty too, fool, but she a state witness. Like that's what the feds do. They swindle the people around you and make them tell on you. You know what I'm saying? So you know, Cole, they saying he gonna win. I don't think he gonna walk. I just don't think that he's gonna walk. I
Nah,
just
he's not
don't,
gonna walk.
bro. I just don't think. I think it's gonna be people gonna be mad, and I don't think he
Right.
gonna walk, bro. And I think that Trump is gonna sit back and think. Trump said he only gonna free him if he feel he was done wrong. You know what I'm saying? Just think he out of there, man.
Right.
It's a lot. Hey, they saying talk a lot and not saying nothing. He say, yeah, I ain't saying nothing because it's hard. You gotta watch what you say about these type of cases. Better think about what you say up on here. And the shit I be really wanting to say, I can't say it on here, sir. You know what I'm saying? But he fucked up, bro. He fucked up, fool. I think he fucked up. Nigga got illegal guns. You know, nigga had drugs. People saying that he was using drugs. Other people besides Cassie say he was
Serial
using
number is
drugs.
scratched off.
Yeah, serial number scratched off the weapon. All types
It's
of
over
shit.
with after that.
Yeah, dog. And like people saying, like they seen you doing, like it's just I don't know, fool. They trying to make this nigga sinister. Like, and then you got Cassie who get on the stand. She don't even shed a tear. Now, one time, understand. Period. She went all the way through that bitch. You know, cause she rich. She got that money. You know, Cole. She got that money.
What did she say?
She ain't doing no trip.
Before we even get
She
to
ain't
Mia's
doing no trip.
testimony, one other thing you might have been seeing in the news, got to address. So it came out today that President Donald Trump, who seems to have been friends.
Yeah, nigga, that nigga Trump.
For that
That
exact
nigga
same
been
day, I
friends
think
with that
the
nigga for so
government kind of
long.
makes a strong argument that these kind of help go to count 3 and 5, that being transportation to engage in prostitution.
Hey, so look, I know you guys are all true crime fans out there, but anybody also in a business of some kind? If so, I want to tell you about our sponsor, Odoo. Why? Because Odoo is an incredible all-in-one business management software that provides you with a range of applications like their sales tool. The Kanban pipeline, it's a game changer. Whether you're working with leads or full-blown loan opportunities. You can visually track every stage of your sales process. Just drag and drop to move deals forward. It's fast, and honestly,
the suits, but she walks straight to the witness stand, takes a seat, but kind of has that same effect that she had yesterday, where she was keeping her head down from what I could see, even while on the witness stand. But I will say, Jesse, even when she was testifying today, I felt like her tone was a little different. Now, yesterday was a very heavy day. They discussed a lot during her direct testimony, at least for day one, and they really discussed a lot of heavy topics, specifically the sexual abuse allegations. She was very emotional on the stand. But I will say this about her today. She kind of spoke a little bit more with an upbeat, if I could say that word, to kind of describe her demeanor just while she was on the stand, as opposed to yesterday, where she was very quiet, soft-spoken, raspy at times, and emotional. But just as far as just some of the threats that were made to her,
Yeah,
the
I'm telling
governor kind of
you,
pointed out an incident
him
back in
praying to
October
man,
of
him praying
2015 when
Diddy, it
Mia
would
was
not
spending
be a
Cape
good
Town, South
idea
Africa with Cassie while Cassie
when
was
he go
filming a
see
movie.
and
And so
look at
Diddy
the
had
shit.
told her to go to
But
South
then
Africa,
again, he
according to
could.
Mia's testimony. However,
I'm gonna
Cassie
say this.
caught
Hold
Diddy
on.
cheating on her. There is a video
Hey,
posted online. This video was with
hey, but another thing is y'all got to remember that Trump. It wouldn't be a good idea for Trump to be at them parties. I mean, I say be at the parties to free him, but y'all got to remember Trump was at these parties too. Trump was one of the people at these parties too, though. You know, the really salute. Trump was one of the people at these parties, fool. So maybe to get his name out the way, let's just free the nigga and hey, he ain't gonna let Diddy go. He just talking.
Yeah, he just
or Diddy
talking
being
Yeah,
cash
yeah,
money.
yeah. He
Diddy's
just talking.
girlfriend
He
Gina.
just
And so
talking.
Mia had said that Cassie was devastated by this, and that
Hmm.
Cassie stopped answering Diddy's calls. So Diddy had Christina Coram and other staff members try to get Cassie on the phone. So we see an exhibit photo from October 26th of 2015. It's a text exchange between Christina Coram and Mia. Christina Coram's like, "Hey, it's KK. Did you get these? PD wants to talk to you. Sorry, messenger, don't shoot." Mia's essentially saying, "I tried to call him." Christina Coram said, "Well, you can call me first. The audio call is not completed." And then they kind of talk about how Mia was getting all these kind of incessant phone calls from not only Christina Coram, but also Diddy, just trying to get in touch with her. She says that at times she was sleeping. There was a time difference. And so that was the essence of that. But even as far as threats to the job, she had kind of teased a little bit into this during her direct testimony yesterday, where she was explaining that she would get suspended without pay for issues just as simple as Diddy being mad at her and using this
That's
kind of as
crazy.
retribution towards her. And so
That's
she was
crazy.
kind of explaining that she was suspended for even oversleeping on the job because she was be awake so long. Then we kind of see an exhibit photo of a notice that kind of needed some further redaction. So it went up, it went down, but we were able to kind of get the gist of it. So this was from March 11th of 2011, and it was an email from Bad Boy HR or Bashta just about Mia's suspension. And so Mia was suspended in this instance without pay, and this has happened to her before. Diddy had asked Mia to get him a lot of options for workout clothes, and she had explained that this is normally a stylist's job, but Mia did what Mia did, and she did her job. She got out all these workout clothes for Diddy, laid them all out, and I guess Diddy cursed at her and got angrier and angrier, she had said. Mia tried to point out there were other options as far as Diddy could use for workout clothes, but she explained that this just made him more irate, and Diddy was screaming, he was cursing at her, but she doesn't remember necessarily the details of the
That
violence,
nigga
but knows
Diddy
that
is
something violent
crazy,
happened
dog.
in this particular instance. And we see another exhibit, this being an email from a couple days later on March 25th of that same year. It was an email between Mia and James Cruz. This was Diddy or Puffy's manager. And James Cruz says, "Who's handling the tickets for the Kid Choice Awards? Because I want to bring my kids there." And Mia says, "I don't know when that is, but he's currently firing me at the moment," smiley face. And while she's even kind of saying her own messages, she is kind of saying like, "I don't know when that is, but he's currently firing me at the moment," smiley face. Like that was kind of her tone, which was, I felt,
That's
very different from how
crazy.
yesterday was. And then James Cruz had responded something along the lines of LOL, but he had said more, but you know how it goes. Everything just goes so fast.
Mia responded, no, for real, and then said, sad face. Mia said, he said I talked back to him over workout clothes. So it all kind of all fell together. And then we see another exhibit from that same day. This one, an email from Mia, or excuse me, this was an email from D-Rock to Mia, where D-Rock explained what happened. And Mia said he went bat SHIT on me because he didn't see all the workout options. What he'd say, what's he saying in the car? Give me a warning before you guys come back. Because she said she didn't want to be in the space when Diddy came back because she didn't want to know, or she didn't know what type of mood he was in and potentially what type of anger that he could protrude on her. And so she said that she was worried about feeling his wrath. And in this instance, again, she was suspended without pay. And so we see another exhibit, this one from Mia, this one between Mia and Vashta, which was Bad Boy HR. And
Nah, he
the
ain't getting no
email,
bail. He
again,
passed the
goes by so
bail.
faster. The memo
He
goes
ain't
by
getting
so
out of
faster. It said,
jail.
on Friday,
He
March
passed the
25th
bail
of
moment.
2011, you were suspended
He
for
on
5
trial.
days. Diddy had said that she was insubordinate, and Mia had said
Salute,
that
Ryan.
she wasn't being insubordinate, and that those weren't the only memos that were sent to her. They didn't include in these memos that Diddy was violent towards her.
That nigga
She was pretty
cooked.
much sad. She was confused, and that she didn't know what she did to essentially deserve this treatment in a way.
Once
Didn't she
that
also
nigga Trump
say
hit them
that
women
Combs had
talking like
threatened
that
to
and
take
shit,
away a TV show for
he
her,
ain't gonna never
or to
free
go,
that
or to
nigga.
something
Hell
regarding
no.
ABC?
That's why I'm saying
Mia was explaining
he
while she
ain't
was on the
gonna ever
stand
free that
that
nigga because of
Diddy
that
around this
shit.
time
Nah, what?
didn't want to be doing Revolt films anymore. He kind of wanted to focus on other
Nah.
projects he was working on. But Mia was super excited about this particular project. It was this scripted pilot show that was supposed to go to ABC. It was pretty much about the life of being Diddy's assistant. And this was a project that she was pretty excited about working on. But after an argument between Diddy and Mia, according to her, must have did something to Diddy, and Diddy took away this project from her. And for the most part, this project never even came more into fruition beyond the development point because it never had aired. It didn't get greenlit necessarily because
Too
Diddy
much
essentially
evidence,
took this
too
project
many
away from her. And she had
videos.
explained that all she
Definitely
wanted to do was work in television, and she was super
witnesses,
eager
nigga.
about this
Shit.
opportunity.
Fuck.
However, this was another instance where he took things
Shit.
that she really worked hard for, she says, away from her.
Now, I think after reading the testimony, some of the most shocking moments came towards the end. Okay, there was this back and forth about what happened after Cassandra Ventura filed her lawsuit in November 2023. This is very, very interesting because I want to keep in mind these allegations about whether or not Sean Combs or anybody in his orbit maybe was engaged in tampering with a witness or bribing a witness. Those are underlying predicate crimes for racketeering. What happened, Elizabeth, after Cassandra Ventura filed her lawsuit in November of 2023? What did Mia say?
Yeah, so to your point, Jesse, this was towards the end of her direct examination. And so, yes, they were kind of talking about Cassie's now settled federal lawsuit against Diddy. But it's interesting because Mia had explained that around this time she heard from D-Rock, and D-Rock was not Diddy's security guard at the time because, again, this is 2023. He wasn't on the job anymore. He was spending more time with his family. However, D-Rock, out of the blue, reached out to Mia. And so we see this exhibit. It's a text message between D-Rock and Mia, and this is on this is on November 30th of 2023. So I believe about a little bit more than a week after Cassie's lawsuit was settled. And so D-Rock says, hey, what's up, Mia? And Mia responds, D-Rock. And that's kind of the way she was saying it, even while she was on the witness stand today. So she was like, hi, how are you? I miss you so effing much. And D-Rock had responded, a lot been going on. I'm about to call you. And so this call happened on November 30th of 2023. When D-Rock had called Mia on that day, he was saying something to the effect of, it's crazy what's going on, said that Cassie and Diddy would fight like a normal couple. Mia said that D-Rock would witness a lot, so she kind of thought it was weird that he was talking like this, and she said it didn't even seem necessarily like him to kind of say these things. And D-Rock had told Mia that Puffy or Diddy missed her. And so Mia said that others surprisingly were kind of echoing the same thing, that this was just a normal couple situation, that this wasn't abusive or toxic, nothing to that effect, that the fights between Cassie and Diddy were just nothing more than what normal couples go through, which is interesting because even during trial, it seems like that's what the defense's perspective has been. But D-Rock had said that he was landing in Miami to go where? To Puffy's house or Diddy's house. And it was essentially to take care of Christian, who is Diddy's son. And so D-Rock said that Puffy wanted to talk to Mia, and Mia thought that Puffy or Diddy wanted her to make this public statement. So then there's an objection by the defense. That objection is sustained. Mia said that she had acted like she wanted to talk to him, but she said that she was scared to talk to him. She's recalling all this trauma that she went through, and that on that same day, and a few hours later, or just something soon to D-Rock's call, Puffy or Diddy had called her too, and Mia had explained that she threw her phone and just ran outside because just getting Diddy's message or getting Diddy's phone call was so triggering to her. That's what she had said. And so then we see another exhibit from D-Rock, and these are text messages again with Mia, but they're a couple weeks later. They're on December 5th of 2023. And D-Rock had said, "Your boy wants you to call him. He just called me," and Mia didn't respond to this message. Then we fast forward to February 2nd of 2024. We see another text exhibit, this one of D-Rock saying, "Good morning. Did you speak to P?" P being Puffy. "He called me. Are you okay? I can't believe you aren't hitting me back." Mia responds, Hi D, so sorry. I just finished scuba diving all day and didn't have a phone on the boat. I haven't talked to him. I don't have my phone alerts on. I called back with no answer, but Mia said she was lying. She said she didn't call Diddy back. And D-Rock had said, "Well, let me know. I can send you something." And Mia perceived this something to be possibly money. And Mia responded in this text message. She didn't say that she thought it was money in the text message. She said this during her testimony today, but Mia responded in the text saying, "No, I didn't ask for anything." And I'm kind of paraphrasing here. She said a lot more, but again, these exhibits go by so fast. But D-Rock said, "Well, I'm allowed to send my sister a gift," because the two thought of each other as kind of big bro, little sister. And again, Mia thought that this gift or this little something special was money. And so the last message that we see from D-Rock is on February 3rd of 2024, where D-Rock tried to call. Mia said, "Hi, D, love you. I was on a boat all day. And then Mia was saying that she was essentially trying to play dumb, and that Diddy on that same day sent her 2 text messages. And Mia thought that Diddy was using D-Rock to make sure that Mia wasn't a threat to whatever was going on. Because by this point, Jesse, we all know that Diddy was facing kind of a number of different civil lawsuits and civil litigation right after the trickle effect from Cassie's lawsuit. So I think that from maybe Diddy's perspective, he was trying to reach out to Mia, make sure that she could maybe kind of either be back in his good graces or maybe say something along the lines of, he was a good person. It felt like that type of thing. Then we see another message, this one the following day on February 4th of 2024, but this one was from Diddy to Mia, where Diddy said, "Hey Mia, it's Puff. Please let me know when you got 10 minutes to talk. Love you. Hey, I don't want to be blowing up your phone," because in between the "love you" and "hey, I don't want to be blowing up your phone," Mia didn't respond. So in the next message, and that being 3 days later on February 7th, Diddy had responded, "Hey, I don't want to be blowing up your phone. Just had my memory jogged on some things. You were my right hand for years. So I just want to remember who was even around me, and it would be good to hear your voice." And Mia said that she was terrified to get these text messages. And then as they're kind of ending the direct examination, Mia said that she's not working right now. She still has PTSD, and that part's going to be stricken from the record because there was an objection from the defense. But she was saying that she still has PTSD. She says she's triggered in normal situations. She feels overwhelmed. Someone could say, "Hey, where are you?" And they're just talking about grabbing a coffee. But from Mia's perspective, and according to her testimony today, she was explaining something just like that even just kind of makes her heart race. And she just feels triggered even as someone simply asking, "Hey, where are you?" given everything that she had went through while on the job with Diddy. And so she says that she triple guesses everything she does. And then on the final question, the prosecutor asked, "And who caused you kind of triple guess yourself?" And she had ended her testimony under direct by saying, "Puffy did this."
Gotta say, that timing, if true, of him reaching out to her and the way that he reached out to her, very, very interesting. Because if I recall correctly, could be wrong, I think he might have been aware, or his attorneys might have been aware, that the government had started investigating him. And if that's the case, and the prosecution can prove that, that again may help with the tampering and the bribery, if you accept that that's what a gift with D-Rock is. I think that's important for the overall narrative and also for the racketeering charge. Now, before we move into the cross, before we move into it, and the theme has been she's alleging quite the abusive situation, and Brian Steele really hit upon that based on messages that she had posted and things she said. Before we even get into the cross, didn't the prosecutor, when questioning Mia, get a little bit into that? A little bit of messages where she wrote Combs, I love you, or something of that nature. So before we even move into the cross, on direct, it seemed like they were trying to anticipate what the defense was going to get into, right?
So absolutely, Jesse. So we saw some of those text exhibits, and I do kind of agree with your point that I do think that the government was trying to get ahead of this, where, for example, we saw an exhibit email from Mia to Diddy, and this is on October 17th of 2015, where Mia had said, hey, Puff, how are you? You know I love you and would do anything for you, smiley face. I bought my own ticket with my own money to make sure that C being Cassie, was good. It's expensive to kind of keep changing my flights, and Mia was explaining even while she was on the stand that she says, I love you or love you to like pretty much everyone within the staff because she felt like these people were her family. She and Puff kind of exchanged I love yous back to one another. And so I do think that the prosecution was trying to get ahead of it. But I will say this, that when the defense came out during their cross-examination, I will say that there were a lot of kind of like head scratches within the exhibits just of what was shown by the defense versus what was shown by the prosecution. So I think the government tried their best to kind of get ahead of it as far as why Mia, after someone who had allegedly sexually assaulted her, thrown spaghetti bowls at her, had tormented her while on the job, was still saying things to the effects of love you or heart you or smiley face and heart emojis, that type of thing to their boss who by her account terrorized her while she was on the job.
And by the way, in that vein, right, that vein of this complicated relationship and how she felt about him, same conversation comes up with Cassie
Salute,
Ventura. Why
Jess.
didn't you leave?
Salute.
Why didn't you leave the job? Why didn't you step away?
Yeah,
That
fool.
came up during one specific trip, right? I think it was to St. Bart's. What happened there?
Yeah, so that's always the number one question when these things happen, right? Why didn't you leave? Why didn't you go? If your life was not the way you thought it would be, why did you continue to stay? But Mia explained while she was on the stand that she did try to leave in one instance, and this was New Year's Eve in 2010 going into 2011. And if you kind of know and you've been following this case, you know that New Year's Eve is a time where Puffy spends it with his kids. And in this particular trip, he actually spent it with his kids and Kim Porter on this yacht, as well as with Mia and some other staffers celebrating what was supposed to be the new year of 2011. And so Mia was explaining that it was herself, Puffy, Kim Porter, Diddy's kids, another assistant was there on this yacht that Diddy had chartered. And Diddy called Mia to come to the room to count this money in this safe. And Diddy got angry because Mia was counting the money too slow. And Mia had said that it wasn't $100, that she thought it was a lot more than that, maybe possibly thousands. And Mia said that she was in shock that he got so irate with her. He chased her out of where she was counting this money. And Diddy said something along the effects of, you better walk on water like Jesus, B word. So while on the stand, Mia was explaining that normally security is the one that counted money. So when Diddy was yelling at her, she ran upstairs onto the third floor of this yacht because, again, Diddy has a lot of money. So, of course, there would be a third floor on a yacht. So while she's up on the third floor of this very expensive yacht, Kim Porter, the mother of some of Diddy's children, actually came up there and consoled her and tried to check on her and tell her everything was going to be okay. But then Diddy came upstairs and she being Mia, went and hid in the crew cabin. And she said that she had to get a tender boat, or I guess a boat that is kind of an extension of the yacht to kind of go back to the main island, and that the captain of this tender boat got a call that Mia had to come back, and she had to come back to the yacht. And she said that she just wanted to get away. She wanted to get out of St. Bart's, but the thing is that Diddy's staff had her passport. And so staff made Mia get into this car. Puffy or Diddy comes in and calls Michelle, who was then his chief of staff, and made up this story. And Mia said that she tried to chime in, and Diddy told her to shut the F up. And Michelle told Mia, just do what Puffy says. Puffy's going to take care of her. And Mia ended up going on a plane with Diddy to Vegas. And she said she felt like she just didn't have a choice.
Yeah, this is very consistent with what prosecutors laid out in the first few pages of the indictment against Sean Combs, when they talk about the racketeering and this pattern of abuse towards women and also towards assistants and those who worked for him. It goes towards that. It also goes to this idea of forced labor, which we talk about so many times. And it wasn't just the hours that they worked, but if she was subjected to sexual assault and physical abuse, it kind of goes to the idea of she was forced to do this because of threats and violence and things of that nature. So she finishes up her direct examination, and then she is cross-examined by Brian Steele, one of Sean Combs' defense attorneys, the attorney who represented Young Thug, by the way. And the way it started, there was a lot of focus on her social media activity, right? What happened there?
So right before Mia comes back onto the witness stand for the cross-examination, because we took a bit of a morning break in between the direct ending and the cross starting, I saw the defense attorneys actually putting up a bunch of binders and notebooks onto the jury's different seats. And these were kind of a bunch of just demonstrative pretty much evidence of photos and pictures and text messages that they did right before Mia took the stand again. And so right when she had taken the stand, the jury's brought back in. Brian Steele does the cross-examination. I was wondering where he was going to go with this. Again, Mia had very heavy testimony just yesterday, and even just ending today, ending her direct examination today, I was really thinking, how is the defense going to kind of come at her in a way? Are they going to attack her? Are they going to be soft with her? But it seemed like from Brian Steele that he was a little tough on her. I will say this. So he starts off by asking her, oh, because of Sean Combs, you suffered this great deal. And Mia responds, yes. You had trauma working with Sean Combs. She says, yes. Oh, he made you do things that are unthinkable. Like, he was really exaggerating his words while he was asking her these questions. He did things to you that were unthinkable. He violated you in ways that are just unimaginable. And she says, true, or yes. Then Brian Steele starts throwing all these photos at her and messages at her, not literally, but in exhibits and in evidence. So we see an image of Mia from social media. Her face is blurred, so we don't see her real face in these exhibit photos, but it's from January of 2013. And these are posted to her personal account, and all that kind of sensitive information is redacted. And it's this photo of Mia posing with these Ciroc bottles. And Diddy used to represent Ciroc in a way as far as brand deals and advertisement goes. And Mia had wrote in this caption, what we do when you're not around at I am Diddy, #Ciroc. And the defense says, well, this was 4 years after your employment. This was years after the sexual assault. And that's where kind of a lot of their questions were really going to. We see another exhibit photo, this one on July 4th of 2013. But this one is a photo of Mia and Cassie. They're kind of holding their hands up on the beach, kind of that typical, beach photo, vacation photo type of vibe. In the caption, Mia wrote, custom-made Cabo bracelets because it's funny, #RichAF. And the defense points out that Diddy paid for this vacation. Then we see an exhibit photo of Diddy, and the caption, again, these are posted on Mia's personal account, that say just the #1 guy on Forbes list getting a vanilla latte. We see another exhibit photo, October 17th of 2013, an Instagram photo. This of Carrie Morgan, who testified for the government just a couple weeks ago. We see it of Mia and Diddy all in this photo together. And the caption is, take me back to Burning Man. We see another exhibit photo the month later, November 4th of 2013. It's a photo of Mia pretending to give birth, and Diddy's kind of in this doctor's costume. It was kind of, I guess, for this Funny or Die skit. And Mia had participated, I guess, in the production of it and was just making kind of that funny post, I guess. And it was something that Andy Samberg had directed. And Mia wrote in this caption, last non-B-Day shout out to my mentor at I Am Diddy. Thank you for letting me give birth to my dreams. And Brian Steele at this point says, you posed with your rapist pretending to give birth. And this was really kind of I will say, a little bit of an aggressive moment. I did see one juror's head just kind of pop up from his notebook when he had said that, because it really was just like, oh my God, wow, he really just kind of threw it out there. And Brian Steele is like, November 4th is not only memorable to Mr. Combs, but it also is to you, because if you go back to her testimony from yesterday, she had said on November 4th, around 2009, I had said 2010 yesterday, but it was 2009 that Diddy had sexually assaulted her at his birthday party up at a penthouse here in New York. And Mia is responding, oh, I don't know what you mean. And Brian Steele is like, well, at Diddy's 2009 birthday party, you found yourself alone with Mr. Combs. And the defense, again, trying to point out this is the same day that Mia says she was sexually assaulted. Then they started kind of get into things that Mia didn't necessarily say, but kind of you would think that by her testimony yesterday, for example, when she had said that she had taken 2 shots, she had felt particularly woozy. And Brian Steele was like, well, you thought you were drugged. And Mia said, well, I didn't say that. And Brian Steele says, but you believed it happened. And Mia responded, it's possible, yes. And Brian Steele says, you felt without desire or consent, Mr. Combs put his hand up your dress. And Mia responded, yes. And you felt it was paralyzing, yes. And all that happened to you on November 4th of 2009. Mia responds, yes. But you still gave him a birthday shout out. And Mia says, yes. So then we see more exhibit photos. This one of Diddy and Mia together on Diddy's birthday on November 4th of 2013. And Mia wrote in this caption, happy anniversary to your B-Day last year. Since this year, you changed your B-Day on some Puff Daddy SHIT. Thank you for being funny, because you're effing funny, like really, really funny. The defense points out in this particular photo that Diddy was holding his genitalia, and points out that, again, this is the same day years earlier that Diddy had sexually assaulted her, according to her testimony. We see another exhibit photo, and really it just kind of felt like an Instagram photo dump, if you will, because it was just photo after photo after photo, just of Mia saying these really kind words to Diddy. So we see another photo of a bunch of people and bunch of people, also celebrities, in a pool together. It's Meek Mill, it's Cassie, it's Diddy, it's The Game, who is a rapper. And Mia is asked, this is a picture that you chose to post. And Mia said, yeah, because there are times during her testimony where she said that she felt forced to post these things, and that she was only posting these things because she only wanted to show the very highs of her job, the really good moments. She said that Instagram at the time, which I kind of agree, at the time was just a place where you really just weren't posting the bad things. You were really just posting the highlight reels of your life. And that's what Mia's explanation was while she was on the stand, of why she was saying all these very nice things about Diddy. Then you see an exhibit photo of a collage, Diddy and Mia, happy new birthday to my mentor, my inspiration, brother, I love you. So another instance where she's saying, I love you. Then we see a whole bunch of other photos. We see Diddy and Mia in December 5th of 2013. We see a Ciroc billboard in Times Square where the caption reads, look, Mom, I'm on a billboard in Times Square. We see Cassie and Mia together on May 29th of 2014. And Mia saying in this caption, every hour should be like happy hour, rosé on Thursday, NYC approved, next stop Istanbul. And I think the defense was trying to point out here that maybe Diddy had paid for this trip, but Mia had said, oh no, Cassie had a club appearance, and the management company that had did this club appearance was the one who had paid for this trip. Then we see Mia and Cassie on a Sprinter van together. Then we see more photo collages. Mia at Burning Man, Diddy and Muhammad Ali together, a photo collage of Diddy on his 45th birthday. And so there really was just a lot. And by a lot, I truly mean a lot of photo exhibits, particularly from Mia's social media account, that they just used in a way against her.
And so she basically said that it was a facade, right, to hide the truth. But didn't she also say at one point, and maybe it was about questioning her lack of memory about certain aspects of the sexual assault, that maybe I'm wrong about it. Did she say, talk to my therapist?
Yeah, she did. And she said, even while she was testifying today, that she really was kind of really coming to terms just with everything that she was going through, even while testifying in this trial, which for her testimony began just yesterday. And so there were points where Brian still was really kind of laying into her, where it's like, why are you saying these very nice things about your boss who tormented you and traumatized you and sexually assaulted you, and you're responding that you love him and that he's the best mentor and boss to you. And so Brian Steele said, what could be more horrible than what you described? There was an objection from the government. That objection was sustained. Then Brian Steele had asked Mia another question, still kind of along to this effect. But Mia had said, the second that it went back to good, things were amazing. Again, kind of pointing back to when the highs were high, the low, they were high, but when the lows were low, they were very low. She said it was like an abusive relationship. There was shame. I don't know how to explain it. I was eager to survive. No one was there standing up to his behavior. I'm still unpacking it, even in therapy. And Brian Steele had asked, well, why would you be confused at all when Diddy acted like he would even kill you in some points? And he had asked, why did you need someone else to tell you that this was wrong? And Mia said, well, my logic brain and my trauma brain, it kind of always wins. You make excuses for people. I just wanted to be my best. I wanted to make people happy. I'm a people pleaser, and I forgive people all the time for things. And Brian Steele had asked, well, why didn't you confront him? And Mia said, I did confront him in St. Bart's in that particular instance, and that Diddy had told her in this instance, when it comes to the St. Bart's trip, that Mia was actually correct. And so Brian Steele was really kind of accusing Mia of just lying in a way about the sexual assaults even happening, and Mia maintained that she didn't lie. And I kind of felt like, in a way, that Brian still kind of needed to ease up just a little bit on her, because given that it was such an emotional day yesterday, again, I kind of felt like it was coming across like you're really kind of talking to a sexual assault victim and you're questioning, did these types of things happen? And so that was my perception of it. Now, it's not up to me. I'm not going into deliberations, right? It's up to the jury. But I will say, I was wondering kind of how the jurors were feeling about this. Were they conflicted? Did they still believe Mia? Because really, Brian Steele, I will say, was very aggressive with her. And I thought at some points that she would crack, she would get emotional, but she didn't. She really kind of held her ground even during these really tough lines of questioning.
And to be clear, did you get a reaction from the jury? Because it's delicate. I've seen it in countless cases before. I mentioned it during the lunchtime show earlier today when I was covering the Harvey Weinstein trial in downtown New York. The way they cross-examined his defense counsel, the way they cross-examined the victims in that case, from their perspective, their client's innocent. These people are coming over and lying about their client, hoping he gets convicted, right? Of course they're going to go, strong against them. The other way of looking at it is, you don't want to turn the jury off, right? After everything she testified to, there's a way to point out inconsistencies versus actually beating her up. Real quick, did you get anything from the jury about how they were reacting to this cross? And there's a lot more I want to get into with it, though.
Yeah, for sure. From what I could see of the jurors, it really was, again, another packed day inside that courtroom, a lot of heads in there. So when I was trying to get like little peeks here and there of them, what I could see was some of the jurors looking directly at Brian Steele. On the other side of the jury box, I could see some jurors looking right at Mia. I didn't see an instance from my point of view, because I was kind of in the back corner a little bit in the courtroom, in the gallery. But from what I could see, I didn't see like anybody wiping away tears, nothing to that effect. But really, it was just either their eyes were on Brian Steele or their eyes were on Mia. But I couldn't tell. Again, to me, they're very hard to read. I think for others, maybe they're a little more expressive. But to me, I just feel like I never know kind of what's going on in their head when they're thinking about just all this testimony and all this back and forth in a way.
I got a great question during the lunchtime show. How is this jury going to remember everything? Right? How are they going to remember everything at the end of 8 weeks of testimony, which again goes to the importance of the jury instructions, importance of the closing arguments. I've said it before, I said again, I think this whole case comes down to the closing arguments, how each side summarizes everything that happened and matches it up to the elements of the crimes. We'll get to that at a later date. Okay. Speaking of the lunchtime show, which we do on YouTube, where we take people's comments, there was a controversial moment that we were breaking down for about 20 minutes. This all had to do with some sort of video, 2013, 2014 video that, if I'm understanding it correctly, the defense got last night, and there was a whole issue about whether or not someone posted it on social media and whether or not Mia's identity was revealed and how they got it and whether or not they could cross-examine her about it. It was a little complicated reading the transcript. What exactly happened here?
Well, I will tell you this, Jesse, and I think I've told you this before, is that some of the best moments I feel like of this trial are always outside of the presence of the jury. It's really when it comes down to these arguments, half of the time, because it's whether or not certain pieces of evidence will go in as evidence, or whether or not that they'll not be used as evidence or be used as a demonstrative. But it seemed like from the defense's perspective, they really wanted to get this 20-second or 30-second video in, because you could tell that they were upset with just how yesterday went for them, because it really was a heavy day, and I can't emphasize that enough. There were people who were emotional inside the gallery. I couldn't see if people were emotional inside the jury box necessarily, but there have been reports of that. But as far as just how yesterday went for them, it didn't look too good for them. And so I think what the defense was trying to do was introduce this particular piece of evidence because they felt like this showed the real Mia. They said the Mia that was on the stand yesterday testifying wasn't how she truly is. They were trying to show Mia in her true form. They were saying the person that they saw on the witness stand, they didn't know how her direct examination would even go. And so you could feel that they were a little upset, just kind of how the events turned yesterday. And so they wanted to put this video and of Mia saying happy birthday to Diddy, and that Diddy's defense believed that it had a lot of probative value. They said they wanted to use it for impeachment, but they got the video just yesterday, the video again being 20 seconds long. But then there were points where Brian Steele was initially making this argument. Alexandra Shapiro just kind of jumps up out of her seat and asks the judge, hey, can I chime in here? And the judge said no. And in a very stern way, he was like, no. And so the defense was kind of pointing out that Mia felt obligated to post these happy birthday posts on her social media platform and photos. But this video in particular, they say, really kind of shows that it was just the exact opposite. Then Shapiro is able to chime in. And she says that this witness is trying to present herself as traumatized, but the video shows the opposite. It shows her real self. And the defense says that they found this video just yesterday. But the judge said, so you're telling me you didn't view this video until yesterday, but it was always in your possession? Because then there was this whole debacle on whether or not the defense even had this in their possession beforehand, because they were claiming that somebody sent this to them, because after Mia testified that her real name had gotten out there and that people were reaching out to the defense, sending the defense attorneys videos of Mia. And so they wanted to admit this video in, but then there was just kind of a hiccup on whether or not this is always in their possession, or whether or not that this video just came into their possession yesterday. The government felt like it wasn't in good faith that they didn't turn over this video to them.
All right,
and so the judge
salute.
kind of got a little mad at the defense and told them, why don't y'all take 5 minutes and confer with one another, being the defense attorneys get in a huddle in a way to kind of confer just how this video came into their possession. And so at this point, Alexandra Shapiro was chiming in, Brian Steele was chiming in, Mark Agnifilo was chiming in. It really was just kind of this back and forth. So yes, there were points where they were like, oh, this video is from 2013. Someone sent it to us, but also it's in our possession. And the judge was like, well, you guys might not be complying with my order. So the defense steps out. They come back in 5 minutes later, and Alexandra Shapiro says, well, we all saw the video at different times, all being the defense attorneys. And so they said people on the internet told us that they figured out who Mia is. So we revisited using this video, and that this video wasn't posted to her social media. They found it on some random website, that there's no prejudice to the government, but there is prejudice to his defense if they don't show this video. And so then the judge views this video on like a laptop. He's wearing headphones, so unfortunately I couldn't hear what was said in this video. It didn't play for the entire gallery or the overflow room to hear. And then the government chimes in and they say that the defense should have turned this video over to the government yesterday when they knew they wanted to use it. They say it's in violation of the court's order, whereas Alexandra Shapiro is really feisty when she's doing some of these arguments. We haven't seen her cross-examine a witness yet. However, when she's doing these arguments, you really can see her get kind of a little animated, a little frustrated. She's like mouthing words to other defense attorneys. It's really a sight to see, I will say that. And so Alexandra Shapiro says, well, we saw the video yesterday on the internet, and the judge ruled that the video is precluded because the relevance and probative value is minimal and that it violated the court's order. And Alexandra Shapiro seemed pretty kind of annoyed about this. Like she really just kind of was like, like that type of way. But then at the end of the day, Jesse, they revisited this because the defense was like, okay, we wanted to do this for impeachment. It doesn't fall under the court's order as far as, I guess, 403, 404 evidence. And Justin, you can talk a little bit more about that. But the defense seems like they really wanted to use this video. And it seems like it's going to be a continued discussion possibly on whether or not they'll be able to use it if they can get the government to kind of look at this video, see all of this video and its contents, and possibly they could use the video too under their redirect. So it was some interesting arguments all over a 30 or 20-second video.
Look, it's important because there can be no surprise attacks at trial. There is a different story if something comes into your possession at the last minute, putting aside the fact if people started to figure out Mia's identity, that's quite the problem, to say the least. And you can have a piece of evidence that maybe is relevant, but what the court will not do is allow cumulative evidence, right? If it's hitting the same point that you've already hit so many times with all of the social media posts, and there's already this controversy with the video, rather not include it. So aside from the fact that she was cross-examined about a lot of these social media posts, I was reading there was a large discussion regarding a scrapbook that she apparently made for Diddy. So again, the man that she says abused her, sexually assaulted her, that she witnessed abusing Cassandra Ventura, that she was afraid of. Talk to us about the scrapbook.
Yeah, well, the scrapbook seemed like something that the defense really wanted to get in as evidence, but they were only allowed to use it as a demonstrative. And even when they were passing this particular scrapbook around to the jury, they really were like, okay, you can't be looking at it too long, getting lost into it. But it was a birthday present from Mia to Diddy for his 45th birthday. And so we see an exhibit photo of kind of this, I think it was a cover letter or just kind of this long, like, happy birthday note. So I was able to jot down the gist of it because it really was kind of pretty lengthy. And so
salute, D-Shell.
Life goes by at catastrophic speeds. Then she goes on to say life keeps going and going. All of this to say that you get to take a step back and enjoy your accomplishments. I put together this book of articles from 1991 to 1999. And Mia was explaining the reason that she did this because I guess they were on a plane with Diddy and Mia, and Mia was kind of looking out of the window, I guess seeing the skyline, and Diddy said something along the effects that he used to have this look in his eye of just like, like a whoa, but like I think as he got more powerful, as he got more money, that it just didn't have that same effect. And it was kind of that type of conversation where Mia was explaining that Diddy was being very vulnerable during this moment and that life didn't have much meaning to him, that she was kind of saying that that's kind of the reason that she made this scrapbook. And she said, how do you get someone who is very, very rich, meaningful birthday present? And so she came up with this scrapbook. And so Brian still did touch upon this. So a man who ruined your life, you write this to him? And Mia had responded, yeah, it's psychological abuse. And she said everyone at the office even excused his behavior. And so that's when Brian still goes into, okay, well, what could be more horrible than you described, just as far as Diddy's treatment to Mia. And so then what ends up happening is that this scrapbook is passed around to the jury. So I could see from where I was in the gallery, just the jury kind of thumbing through it. It's a bunch of different articles that Mia had gotten from, I guess, Diddy's archives, and that she put this together with the help of Diddy's archives. And as far as just kind of her contribution, in addition to putting the scrapbook together, was kind of highlighting pieces of this article, or these different articles, I should say, of just Diddy's accomplishment throughout the years, especially kind of at a pretty pivotal time from him. Because if you think about the 90s, you think about Bad Boy, you think about just everything that happened during that time period. So unfortunately, it wasn't shown as an exhibit where we could see all the different articles. But what I could see kind of peeking near the jury box is that they were just a lot of different articles essentially about Diddy's accomplishments.
Fair line of cross-examination. It's fair line of cross-examination. It's expected that they would question her about this, about the social media post, because it's inconsistent, right, with what she's describing. However, from what we heard from Cassandra Ventura, what we heard from Dr. Dawn Hughes about the relationship between victims and abusers, there is another side of the story. And the prosecution would say it's another example of manipulation and control.
That is Bill Hubble, a ball in his mouth for my brothers. Sold your bag, told the cutter, I got it out the field, fuck Russell. Going ass Lori about the paddock and going ass Jordan ass dead. For leak water trying to drown a bitch. That's a habit tricking on a bitch. Shit, I'm thinking I'm clipping a pimp. Shit, I'm cooking up dope like a dump. Shit, like her first gon' sit nigga trim. Shit, I'm floating them out in the blimp. Shit, it look like I'm swimming in glass. Shit, I turn on my bitch cause she bad. Shit, I'm making my ex nigga mad. Shit, they go for that coming to man. Real nigga alert up, wearing a bag. Piping a bitch and they nail like I can. Turn up the shooters with switch go bad. They with some scammers, but no one's a pay. Trapping no rapping, my dog ain't fall off. No capping, no bound.